right, welcome back. We're doing this one out at the property, out at the cabin. We got a nice fire going. I got some gin, but I got another little gun review for you. This is it, the Springfield XD. Kind of wanted to do something a little different here, so rather than show you the stages and then do the over the top, and I'm pretty sure most of you have seen this gun. This gun has been out and about in the world since, God, I don't know, 2005, probably earlier. Anyway, the Springfield XD 3-inch. Let's take a look at the stages. I'm kind of going to walk you through them one by one, and I'll tell you where things went wrong. All right, so that was the first stage of the day. That is not how you want to start a match, but that's the way it goes. So what I think happened there, as you can see, there wasn't much to that. There isn't much to a lot of this whole match. For some reason, somebody here thought it would be cool to have. It was like two stages that were sort of regular stages, and then it was like 4 or 5 standard stages. So yeah, everybody hates standard stages, and so I don't know whose great idea it was to put 4 or 5 of them in a match, but that's what we did today. Anyway, that didn't go well. I don't know. So it was rainy and it was cold, and so I don't know. I didn't lube the gun before I came out. I just took it out as it was. I've had this gun for years and just never really done anything with it. So I just kind of took it out there and did it. So that was a 95 power factor ammo that you can use in bug. I shot this in SPD because with all those, I just didn't want to suffer through 18 or a bunch of standard stages with, 6 rounds in the magazine. So I switched it up and shot SPD. Yeah, that, needless to say, stage 1 didn't go how I wanted. I did reshoot it, just not for time, or not for score, just to see how I could do, with a little bit of different ammo. After that, I took the gun to the safe area, cleaned it out, switched over to some 125 power factor ammo that I have for USPSA in the truck, and everything ran just fine. So let's take a look at stage 2, the first standard stage of the day. All right, so that was stage 2, or Bay 1. First standard of the day, didn't go too bad for me. I'm glad that I switched to SPD and shot it like I was shooting it in SSP. I had the big mags. I wasn't going to go out and buy a bunch of mags for this. I have one magazine for this, and it's the 13 round little one. I did use this today I did buy the Pure script to put on it. But I didn't want to, I wanted to shoot it more similarly to SSP. I suppose I could have after I switched to the 125 grain power factor, 125 power factor ammo. But yeah, that was a good run for me. No reload with 15 round magazines, so that worked out. All the 10 round divisions had to do at least 1 reload, and bug would have been like 3 or 4. So I'm glad I didn't do that. Went well. I went like down 2 on those headshots, so a spicy time of like 13, spicy enough to have a stage win on that one. So only one of the day, and you'll see why coming up. So we're gonna move on to Bay 2, which is stage 3 for me, or for our squad, and we'll see how that goes. Just gonna need a little more of that gin after that one. So that was I just inhaled gin. That's wonderful. So that was stage 3. It was a standard. Again, second standard of the day. I'm not sure how we work all those partials in there, how that's legal. Maybe it's legal in standard stages. I don't know. But it didn't go well. I didn't hit any of the non-threats, but I threw two into the black. I don't know what I did. Like I thought I was shooting it just about as letting the dot settle as well as I did on the last stage, but it just did the end result was just not the same at all. I think it was down 14 points in that one stage, so that hurt me overall. In terms of the gun, the sights are 3-dot white 3-dot sights, and so like I haven't shot that in a long time. There was a couple of times where I was like lining up the planets, and I would see as I pulled the trigger that like oops. The front sight was over here, and I was looking at this one, because they're all white instead of I'm used to a red front and a blacked out rear, and so like I'd fire a shot and be like, "Whoops, I was looking at the wrong white dot." But whatever, things happen. So the next one was finally a stage we get to run and gun a little bit. So let's take a look at that one. All right. So that was pretty much the only, the only really normal IDPA stage of that day. So I like the stage overall. It was kind of intricate, or kind of something I had to pay attention to was that after you shoot the first two on the left, you got to come around to the right side. And if you cross over in front of those barrels, then you're exposing yourself to that target, and that will become priority. And there were several shooters who did that, who went forward of those barrels and shot the targets from the position of cover, but then got the penalty for being exposed to that one. So a little bit to think about there. Overall, it went well for me. Well is a relative term, I guess. Like I shot it relatively quickly. I was having trouble with those sights again. I don't know if it was just me not paying attention enough, or not looking at the right thing, but I ended up going like down 5 and like a one here, and here, sort of torture by or death by down ones, which is relatively unusual for me, but it was a fun stage. I'm glad that we got to stretch our legs a little bit. Yeah, we have 2 more standard stages to go. The next one I did something that I thought was interesting. Some people didn't like it, but take a look at stage 5, Bay 4. Wait, chop over? So there it is. Relatively straightforward, right? Well, I don't know if anybody paused and watched the stage description on that one, but it was supposed to be whatever hand you are. I'm left-handed, so it would be strong side on the left and support hand only on the right. But I just had enough of standard stages by that time of the day, and I was like, this would be a really fun stage if I could just shoot it. If I could just shoot it straight up, this would be fun. And I was standing in the back, and I was talking to my buddy Kevin, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like, they're going to give me a flagrant, maybe an FTDR. I don't know. I don't really care. At this point, I'm wet, I'm cold. Like, I want to see how this little guy's going to do. Like, I don't know. One-handed shooting, there's certainly a place for it, but I don't want to do it a whole bunch. I don't want to do it in the rain. I don't want to do it in November. I don't know who thought that was like a good idea to do 4 standard stages today, but like, man, it would have been a much better test of this gun to just run a normal stage. But hey, I didn't put on the match, so people can run whatever stages they want to do. If they want to torture themselves, then have at it, I guess. So I just shot it all two-handed, and they did give me a flagrant penalty, but even then, I ended up like fifth overall on that stage, because I shot it in 11 seconds, down 2 plus 10 for the flagrant. So 23 total. I mean, most people were running more than that. So it worked out. Last one, relatively easy, standard, and not a bad. Like, this is a sort of standard that I think is like acceptable. This is something that we should do for standards, but I'll talk about that more in a second. All right, last stage, easy peasy. It was downloaded to 4, and since this gun does not have a slide lock on my side of the gun, being a left-handed person, I opted to go. Somebody did it in front of me. My buddy Steve. He shot it, and he shot 2, 1, reloaded, so we wouldn't have to go to slide lock, back to the body, head. In the stage description, it says body must be shot first, but it can't tell you when to reload. So okay, so 2 to the body, 1 to the body, reload, 1 to the body, 1 to the head, 1 to the head. Was down 1 on the left head, so no big deal there. Like, for a 3-inch gun, happy enough with that. So, yeah, that's that. Getting into a little bit more of the pros and cons here. Okay, sorry about that. We're back. So just a few of the pros and cons for the Springfield XC subcombat. First thing, I guess, to start off with is, like, where are all the XDs? I don't think they're a bad gun, but I never see them in competition. I know Big Dog Barney Oxford has one. He's the guy who lent me the magazines. But man, like, the Echelon, the XD, the XDM, the XDM Elite, all those guns, dude, I never seen them in competition. So I don't know what's going on with that, or why they're not there. I was looking, doing research by Googling it on the internet, and like, I heard talk of, like, oh, they're unreliable, and like, I don't know. I haven't experienced any other than it wouldn't cycle the 95 power factor stuff this morning. Like, they've always been reliable for me. An XD was my, like, second gun when I got seriously into guns. I bought a Springfield XD 4-inch and eventually traded that in on an XDM. And that was when I was in the phase of owning guns where it was like, yeah, I just kind of have it. I don't really do anything with it. And so always regretted selling the XD 4-inch, the original. But yeah, I don't know. Tell me, guys, like, why are you competing with one? If you are, let me know what you're doing. The 5 1/4 XDM I heard was a really good gun. The guy who won Top Shot the first time, his name's like Ian Harrison. He was shooting for Springfield, and I know Rob. That's terrible. I can't remember the great one's last name right now. It'll come to me. But I know he shoots for Springfield, and he shoots. I gotta imagine he shoots XDs. I don't know. I know he shoots Springfield 1911s. Few of the pros and cons. Pros, even with the 125 power factor, this isn't too snappy. So the 2 years that I did bug division at IDPA, like, full time, like, that's all I did was shoot bug. I shot it with 125 gram power factor ammo, and I shot it with a 26, and it wasn't bad. You had to then. There was no, or maybe there was. I don't remember if there was. You could shoot 95, and I just didn't. I think you could, but either way, I didn't. Yeah, so it's not too snappy. It does have even though it does have a shorter barrel than the 26. 26 is like 3.5. This is 3. It's still not too snappy. It can be made to fit the box. So I have a friend from California who made this thing fit, and it wasn't just the height. The height is slightly too tall, but he had weight issues. He had to cut weight, and he told me where he did, and I don't remember. But it wasn't an insignificant little thing. It was quite a process to get this thing to work in bug division, I guess. You put a trigger job in it. That's what I would do. I remember back in the day, I want to say it was Powder River Precision or something like that. I can't remember who. I did a trigger job on one of these, and it was not an easy thing to do. Another pro, these things are stupid cheap. For a while, Springfield was doing this, like, XD Essentials program, and you can get these for like $300. And now the Mod 3 is out, I don't know why I did that. But the Mod 3 is out, and they're like stupid cheap too. I don't know if they're making a uh, 3-inch, but they're out. They're stupid cheap. I saw one for like $330 the other day. Um, Before today, it had cycled just about every ammo that I put into it. So I ran 105 power factor ammo for like that I use for CCP, 95. The story in 95 is that I wasn't going to ever load any 95 grain ammo, but now I'm just kind of like going to move away from CCP a little bit. And I had a bunch of 115 grain bullets, and I was like, I'm just going to do this just to see what it's like. But when I tested it in this gun, it worked. I shot like not a lot, like I don't know, 10 mags maybe. But it cycled, it all cycled. But today, as you saw, it did not. Um, the action is incredibly smooth on this thing. So the injection port, the magazines must be made of like aluminum or something because I had a magnet on my belt and I could not get it to stick uh, to the magnet. But everything like there, most of the time when you let the slide go forward on a gun, you can kind of feel, especially if you shot for a while, like you load a mag and rack one in during your make ready, and it's like, okay, that loaded. I felt the round go into the chamber. I could not feel it all day. I mean, I could see it, and I don't know, I think this has a loaded chamber indicator. It does. You guys know how I feel about loaded chamber indicators. I think they're stupid, but maybe not because you might need it on this gun. But yeah, it was so smooth. I didn't feel it all day, so I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know that helps you any at all. Like I don't know if that's I don't know. So I would think that having a smoother action would make things extract and maybe not eject, but extract better and feed better. But then again, I had issues today, so I don't know. Um, there's no grip zone nonsense on this. So this isn't like an essentials program one. This is an official like Springfield XD Gen 1 Mod 1, whatever you want to call it. This is the old school, man. And there's no grip zone. So I somehow, you know, due to my extreme expertise in handgun shooting, was able to figure out how and where to grip this gun all day. So good deal. Cons, I don't have a ton. The sights, I know that these are so. When I had XDs before, I had them switched if I were going to shoot this gun seriously or more, which I might do. I didn't feel like today was like a good test of this gun. So I might do it again and actually like shoot it in bug rather than see a bunch of standard stages and shoot 15 rounds because I don't want to reload 100 times. But if I were going to do it more, I would definitely put on a blacked out rear and a red fiber optic front sight on this thing. But other than that, I would not try and do it myself because those things are like a son of a bitch to get off. I don't know how they got them on there so tight or why. But I know they are super hard to get off. So I took them to a gunsmith way back in the day before I knew any gunsmiths. I found some guy on the internet and I brought it to him in his garage, and he had it for like 2 weeks, and then finally he called me and was like, "Yeah, I got it done." And so I came back and got it, and like he was complaining. He's like, "This is really hard." And I was like, "Okay, I don't know." I heard that he told me of the, how heavy they are, and they're like 125 pounds per square inch. And okay, I don't know how you test that, but okay. But anyway, no, they're really hard. So the white dot sights, like I said before, they kind of stupid and they mess me up. So yeah, there was a couple of times where, like I said, I'm seeing the front sight like over here and be like, "Oh man, like I didn't mean to do that." And then with the stupid limited stages today, nearly all of them, except for the two relatively normal stages. Yeah, that kind of threw me off because it's like, oh well, that's a bad shot, but there's nothing I can do about it because we're limited. The grip safety, a lot of people get wrapped around the axle about the grip safety. It doesn't bother me all that much, and it never had it like not engage when I was doing it or grabbing the gun. So I know that it will, but it won't fire without the grip safety engaged. But like I said, some people don't really like that. And watching the videos though, the bore access like looks really high. It sort of reminds me of like I never really noticed it just holding it in my hand, but seeing it in the video, the bore access is kind of high, and it's like it kind of looks like a high point where they kind of like recoil like ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And that probably, because of how heavy it is, probably helps with the recoil and why I didn't mind shooting it so much. But as a result of that, this the hits were sort of erratic for me. So there was a couple of times where I was shooting and I was like, oh man, like I called three good ones on there, and there's like, two relatively close together and then one way over here. And so like, I don't know, might have to do that, or maybe I just suck. So there's that too. So it seems to hit erratically. I don't know if that's me or if that's the gun. Um, yeah. The last thing I have there is what I already said, that it shoots the 95 power bug ammo, or it did shoot the 95 power factor ammo just fine in testing, and then just shit the bed today. Like I said, it could be that it was cold. Um, could be that I didn't lube the gun because I'm lazy and dumb, but I don't know. It didn't like that stuff. So maybe I'll give it another try. Like I said, I kind of want to. We are having a bug only match in December, so maybe I'll give it another try on that. But I've got other guns I want to try out, so I don't know. We might give you another try. We might not. So anyway, if you like this kind of thing, check out the playlist. It's called something. It's the off season. It's on it's one of the playlists on there. And then yeah, if you have the time and the means, check out www.dz-214.com, where you can donate to the charity sponsors, the veterans charities that we sponsor to the sports. If you do that, we greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you on the range.